Part 66. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 653. Finally I have waited for this moment. Your name is Yi Kangshen, Zhang Zizai asked. His brother is Yi Wangsheng from the Blood Prison Totem world. This name is quite famous. Kangshen, Wangsheng. Oh, you are so ignorant. You haven't even heard of my name in this God's well. The blood-eyed teenager Yi Kangshen shook his head and smiled bitterly. Maybe it's because I'm not very famous, Zhang Zizai said. When he said this, Yi Kangshen was stunned for a moment. He seemed a little angry. Not everyone dared to say such a thing. The taste between the two of them was burning instantly. The battle broke out at this moment. Zhang Zizai instantly transformed the god of killing in his hand into a long sword. The black god of killing instantly exuded the breath of death. At this moment, Zhang Zizai had fallen into a ferocious state. He had been patient for a while for a smooth opportunity to take action. This period of time was very difficult to endure. When the opportunity finally came, he broke out instantly. Yi Kangshen was also a little impatient. He was at the 5th level of Tianyuan realm. It was difficult for him to fight with this woman just now. He almost capsized in the gutter. At this time, Zhang Zizai appeared, which also brought him some pressure invisibly. He was at the 5th level of Tianyuan realm at the age of 14. He had a great hope of reaching the 9th level of Tianyuan realm at the age of 18. This was a talent that was even more extraordinary than his brother. He had great hope of entering the God realm in the future. He had always been the object of people's boasting. But today, an unknown person appeared and comprehended faster than him. It was really a bit depressing. Under the double depression, he also exploded, holding a blood-colored spear in his hand, and for a time, he killed endless energy and blasted towards Zhang Zizai. The two clashed at this moment. Buzz. Zhang Zizai instantly bewitched the other party with hundreds of clones. The clones densely surrounded Yi Kangshen, and his real body was hidden among them. The god killer in his hand suddenly exploded. I won't let you bully her. Zhang Zizai was already furious that the girl he held in his hands would become his maid. Star God Sword Manual. Meteor. When his clones attacked one after another and perished in Yi Kangshen's hands, Zhang Zizai's Star God Sword Manual suddenly erupted. His attacks fell from the sky, suddenly like a meteor falling, and a dazzling starlight suddenly appeared in his clones, blocking the sight of many people for a while. Dry-level battle tactics. The young man Yi Wangsheng squinted his eyes at the first time and saw that Zhang Zizai was attacking. This was an incredible scene for him. But he didn't move, because he saw that Zhang Zizai was only at the 3rd level of the Tianyuan realm. Even if such a Tianyuan power could perform dry-level battle tactics, it would still not be a threat to his brother. Just when he was stunned, Zhang Zizai's Star God Sword Manual had already engulfed Yi Kangshen. Boom boom boom. Countless meteors crashed into Yi Kangshen's body. Before this, Yi Kangshen had shattered all of Zhang Zizai's clones with his spear. When he was about to charge up and penetrate Zhang Zizai, he was suppressed by the Star God Sword Manual. Puff. The god-killing sword pierced through his body 3 times, piercing his defense. Boom. The ground shook violently, and Yi Kangshen fell to the ground with a scream. Zhang Zizai suddenly appeared beside him, 1 man and 1 sword, with blood flowing on the sword. The battle was incredibly fast. In the blink of an eye, the winner was decided directly. What people saw was that Yi Kangshen covered his chest with 3 places and screamed hideously. Zhang Zizai's Tianyuan power made him feel like he was having a nightmare, and his neck was full of blue veins. You are looking for death. You. Yi Kangshen trembled and roared, while Zhang Zizai pointed his killing finger at his neck. His eyes were cold and ruthless, but he smiled and said, I'm sorry, you lost the battle. I was wondering why I had never heard of your name. Someone as vulnerable as you really shouldn't have any fame. "You're dead," Yi Kangsheng roared. "Let him go first," Zhang Zizai said, "let him go, and I'll let you go." "Kangsheng, you must accept the defeat and let him go," his brother Yi Wangsheng said expressionlessly. Yi Kangsheng was unwilling in his heart, but he still did it. He looked around and everyone looked at Zhang Zizai with shocked expressions. This feeling made him very uncomfortable. He knew the reason why his brother asked him to accept the defeat. Even his brother didn't save him, which showed that Zhang Zizai's tyranny was beyond his brother's imagination. Now he had to let him go, because Zhang Zizai's sword was against his throat, which was equivalent to his life and death being controlled. In this case, his brother Yi Wangsheng would definitely be on the safe side and let his brother be safe first, and as for the rest, he would slowly figure it out. "Congratulations, I wish you a happy love." Yi Kangsheng took a deep breath, suppressed all the anger in his heart, opened the iron cage, and let Lingxian out of it. After all, Zhang Zizai was still in control of his life, so he had to be a little careful at this time. When Zhang Zizai went to celebrate, he vowed to make him pay for everything Yi Kangsheng had tasted. 3 swords pierced his body. This was a great insult, a humiliation to him. His eyes had already produced murderous intent. It was almost time, and Lingxian was already behind Zhang Zizai. "Thank you, you are a noble person who keeps your promises." Zhang Zizai smiled. This was what he said to Yi Kangsheng, whose eyes were now full of murderous intent. "People of our status naturally disdain, When Yi Kangsheng was still suppressing himself and saying a polite word, suddenly, something unexpected happened to everyone. Zhang Zizai thrust his sword forward, instantly piercing his throat. His words stopped at this moment. Yi Kangsheng stared at Zhang Zizai with wide eyes. This was the most incredible thing in his life, and the thing he couldn't understand the most. Zhang Zizai actually killed him at this time. The sky and the earth were dark at that moment, which made him feel infinite fear. He stared at Zhang Zizai with wide eyes, and his whole body was trembling, but even so, he couldn't stop the passage of life. You, he couldn't figure it out. Why did this person dare to kill him? Moreover, after killing him, he instantly touched the space jade pendant he had just taken from Lingxian on his body. Then, he said something that Yi Kangsheng would never forget. "Unfortunately, I am a villain who goes back on his word." The 2 sentences said by Zhang Zizai naturally connected together, explaining everything about him at this time. The scene was dead silent. When people saw Yi Kangsheng covering his neck and falling down with his eyes open, everyone suffocated. "I wanted to breathe as hard as I could, but I didn't have the ability." The young man in black, protecting the woman, took a few steps back, his eyes full of determination, and Yi Kangsheng in front of him had already fallen on the ground, motionless. "You are looking for death," the most unbelievable person let out a thunderous roar. It was Yi Wangsheng. He was trembling all over, watching all this in disbelief. His eyes were filled with endless murderous intent. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 654. This sudden event was so incredible that most people were completely unable to react. Few people even believed their own eyes. This unknown boy, no one knew who he was, but he did something that almost no one dared to say at this time. Is he so audacious, or is he seeking his own death? Shock and doubt filled people's hearts. They could have seen what would happen to Zhang Zizai in the future. As expected, even if Zhang Zizai took back their things and dragged Lingxian to regret, he could not escape the anger of the people in the blood prison totem world. Led by Yi Wangsheng and Lu Hongyan, a total of more than a dozen people suddenly became furious, their eyes were bloodshot, and they surrounded Zhang Zizai in an instant. Among them, Yi Wangsheng and Lu Hongyan had already arrived in front of them. Lu Hongyan checked Yi Kangsheng's condition and said to Yi Wangsheng, "My brother has passed away." Yi Wangsheng's hands were shaking. He clenched his fists, stared at Zhang Zizai, and said in a low voice, "Why did you do this?" He deserves it. If others don't offend me, I won't offend others. If someone offends me, I will return it tenfold, Zhang Zizai said. What a good tenfold return, I will return it to you now. Let you know that your behavior today will make you pay such a heavy price. Yi Wangshen's voice was accompanied by a cold smile. He was about to take action. It's a pity that you are one step late. Today, you can't kill me, Zhang Zizai suddenly laughed. If I came one step later, how could Lingxian have dignity? They are predators. When they were others, did they ever think that they would be killed by the prey in their eyes? Everything has its cause and effect. I can't kill you. Yi Wangshen's bloodshot eyes flashed with blood. He seemed to have heard an incredible joke. Suddenly, he had already made a move. He was at the 9th level of Tianyuan realm. He and Zhang Zizai were in the sky and on the ground. He was the type who could smash Zhang Zizai into powder with a slap. In the blink of an eye, a group of people flashed and suddenly appeared in front of Zhang Zizai, blocking Yi Wangshen's way. Zhang Zizai saw their existence and finally made preparations to kill them. Naturally, he would not joke about his own life. A total of 7 people appeared in front of Zhang Zizai, even Shen Xiao was here, and the 6 of them from the hidden dragon totem world also gathered together at this time. Yi Wangshen was originally going to deal with Zhang Zizai, but the appearance of this group of people blocked his attack, forcing him to turn around and land. When he saw the people clearly, his face was very ugly, and he said, "Li Zixiao, what do you mean? This person killed my brother. You shouldn't have to protect this little nobody." While speaking, he had already seen Shen Xiao coming to Lingxian, and was anxiously asking about her well-being, so he knew that the two groups of people might be related. The people of the hidden dragon realm, have comprehended the demon tomb, but you actually took it by force and took us as your maids. What do you mean by this? I should ask you, what do you mean? Do you think we are easy to bully? Li Zixiao said word by word. After hearing this, people made a commotion. Until this time, they finally knew why Zhang Zizai was so arrogant. These 3 people have never appeared before. Are they from the hidden dragon totem world? In this case, with different identities, the situation is completely different from before. It seems that a good show is about to begin. This is the confrontation between the central totem worlds. After hearing what Li Zixiao said, Yi Wangshen's eyes were gloomy. He stared at Zhang Zizai and said, "So it's your people. But, you are from the hidden dragon world, can you kill my brother at will? He must pay the price. Killing requires a life. Then ask everyone present, who is the first to cause trouble to whom? Some people bully the weak and deserve to die. I'm putting my words here today. If you want to touch him, you can just start a war. Li, will learn from you." Li Zixiao raised his head and said in a deep voice. Everyone was noisy again. They didn't expect the conflict between the two sides to reach this level. After this sentence was spoken, it was Yi Wangshen's turn to frown. Li Zixiao's attitude was tough, and the key was that their blood prison totem world was a little unreasonable. Yi Kangsheng did this and was killed by someone. If this kind of thing was spread out, most people would think that he deserved to die. Who is this person to you, Li Zixiao? Yi Wangsheng asked. I am just an ordinary member of the hidden dragon realm, Li Zixiao said bluntly. An ordinary member? You actually defended him to this extent, Li Zixiao. It seems that you want to make a complete grudge with me. Do you think it is worthwhile? Yi Wangsheng said. There is no such thing as worthwhile or not. I have an obligation to stand up for all the people in my hidden dragon realm, Li Zixiao said. Very good. A dangerous aura flowed in Yi Wangsheng's blood-red eyes. In terms of overall strength, we are not their opponents. This person has a hard temper and may really fight with us. If we fight, we will not get any benefits, Lu Hongyan said in Yi Wangsheng's ear. I know, and it is not worthwhile to fight with these crazy dogs at the beginning of this ancient demon tomb. Too many people want to see us both lose, Yi Wangsheng said in a deep voice. So, you won't take revenge? How is that possible? Yi Wangsheng growled. He stood up, looked at Li Zixiao and Zhang Zizai, and said word by word, the hatred of killing my brother is irreconcilable. I will spare your life today. You may stay in the ancient demon tomb for a long time. You'd better be careful and don't be caught alone by me. Otherwise, you will be unable to live or die. After that, he targeted Li Zixiao and said, since you choose this, the grudge is formed. Be prepared to pay the price for your stupidity. You have lost your eyes, but you are still so arrogant. Be careful not to lose your life. Don't worry about it, you coward, Li Zixiao said. It was hard to tell that he was no worse than the other party in verbal confrontation. Let's go, Yi Wangsheng retreated first. He felt that a head-on confrontation was not worthwhile. They were good at hiding and hurting people. Since they had no chance in front, they had plenty of other opportunities. In fact, in order to endure, they disdained others to think that they were cowards and were scared away by the people of the hidden dragon realm. When they pushed through the crowd and left, Li Zixiao said to the crowd watching the excitement, don't watch it. If you watch it again, the 10 demon tombs will be completely gone. The excitement was over, and it was obvious that there was no fighting. Under such circumstances, they dispersed. But when they left, they couldn't help but look at Zhang Zizai a few more times. The performance of this unknown person today can be said to have made him famous. The courage, boldness, and bravery are really amazing. When they dispersed, they all looked back at Zhang Zizai with a strange look in their eyes. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 655. Very courageous, Su Mo said with a smile. Fourth brother, don't praise him. He has caused us so much trouble. He is such a troublemaker. You think killing people is cool. Next, we are in the open, and the other side is a group of ruthless people in the dark. We have to be terrified to do anything. If something goes wrong, it will affect others. Xiao Yao crossed his arms and said very unhappily. From his point of view, it was indeed the case. Xiao Lu, it is impossible not to make enemies with others in the ancient demon tomb. There is no need to worry too much. As a person, you need to have backbone. We don't need to care too much, we just need to unite, Zhang Yaoken said. I just think that making too many enemies will make it difficult for us to move forward, Xiao Yao said. So, we have to watch girls being bullied and then be a coward, Su asked with a flat mouth. This made Xiao Yao shut up and speechless, because he was surprised to find that he was thinking about everyone, but everyone stood on the opposite side of him and regarded his kindness as a donkey's liver and lungs. Be more restrained from now on, don't cause us too much trouble, Xiao Yao thought for a while, and said to Zhang Zizai. No problem, don't worry. Zhang Zizai patted his chest and said. This time is a special situation. However, after this encounter, Zhang Zizai and their relationship has become much closer. They are indeed a group of people who are very loyal. Tell me something that makes people feel incredible. Zhang Yaoken looked at Zhang Zizai and the three of them with a smile, and said, in other words, the three of you have each taken care of 3 demon tombs. Including the eldest brother, there are 10 demon tombs, and we have occupied 4. You also comprehended 1. Zhang Zizai looked back at Shen Xiao, and indeed found that she not only comprehended 1, but also broke through a realm like herself, reaching the 2nd level of Tianyuan realm. She said before that it was almost done. Not only Shen Xiao, comprehending the demon tomb also made Ling Xian break through a realm, and also reached the 2nd level of Tianyuan realm. The mystery contained in the demon tomb has greatly increased their understanding of Tianyuan. After all, they all chose tombstones that are suitable for themselves. However, it is difficult for Li Zixiao to make progress in comprehending the tombstone, because his understanding of Tianyuan is already very deep, and he has reached a bottleneck. Once Tianyuan has achieved a small success and can become a primary god, it will definitely not be so easy to break through. At present, Zhang Zizai and the others are in a period of rapid growth after just obtaining Tianyuan. You three are really abnormal. Su Emo looked at them with an amazed look. It seems that we really picked up a treasure. Zhang Yaoken smiled. The three of them are indeed extraordinary in their comprehension ability. Now that their realms have been broken through, they can still defeat Yi Kangsheng, almost crossing two realms. It's not easy, Li Zixiao said. In their eyes, the status of Zhang Zizai and the other two has been improved a lot invisibly. During this process, only Xiao Yao was a little embarrassed. He felt that the others were like a group, and he seemed to be isolated outside. At this time, Duguye patted his shoulder and said, "Let go of your prejudices. They are interesting people. It's really uncertain what the future will be like. Don't reject them and affect your mood. Accept them with an open mind. Maybe it will be better for everyone." "I know," second sister Xiao Yao nodded. Although their current realm is still not high, and their growth in the ancient demon tomb is limited after all, after this, with their ability to comprehend, even if their Tianyuan is high, there is still a lot of room. I am optimistic about their growth, and I like their nature very much, especially Zhang Zizai. Zhang Yaoken also said in Xiao Yao's ear. After all, it is fate, Xiao Yao echoed. After this change, Zhang Zizai has almost perfectly integrated with them, and everyone is more and more like a real whole. Just when they were still curious about what treasures Zhang Zizai had obtained from each of them, suddenly, the entire ancient demon tomb shook suddenly. Originally, the entire demon tomb was still shrouded in darkness and fog, but from this time on, the darkness and fog began to dissipate, and a large number of tombstones appeared in people's vision one after another. It seems that the tombstones of the entire ancient demon tomb have been opened, Li Zixiao said. This shows that the previous 10 tombstones have been fully understood. From the first one, then to the 10th, and now all the demon tombs are finally opened. Zhang Zizai looked into the distance, and people quickly separated and entered the spaces that were previously inaccessible. Because the vision was much clearer, Zhang Zizai could clearly see that many people directly crossed the blood river and arrived in front of other tombstones. It should be right, the real tense time has come, Su Emo said excitedly. The previous one was just foreplay, and now it's time for the real show to start. The golden roulette above the head is still shining, and the ancient gods are in control of everything. After watching the performances of the people in front, maybe they finally decided to fully display the entire ancient demon tomb in front of people. This means that the real fierce competition will soon break out. Hurry up and set off, Li Zixiao said. Originally, the 9 of us could act completely separately, but now we have to be on guard against the people in the blood prison totem world, Sususu said. She was not complaining, but reminding everyone that once they were completely separated, they might be in danger. Xiao Yao also had an opinion, but he didn't speak this time. Li Zixiao was silent for a moment, looked at everyone, and said, "Listen to my arrangement. We will divide into 3 groups. The groups should take care of each other and don't go too far away." "How to divide?" "Zhang Zizai and I will be in one group, Xiao, Xiaoliu and Lingxian will be in one group, and the others will be in one group." This arrangement is very reasonable. The main purpose of dividing into 3 groups is to protect Zhang Zizai. Among the 3 of them, the others have the ability to protect themselves. Li Zixiao is the strongest, so he can be in a group with Zhang Zizai alone. Duguye and Xiao Yao carried Lingxian, while Zhang Yaoken and the other 3 carried Shen Xiao. The combat power of the 3 groups was about the same. "Okay, let's move," Duguye said. Ye Li Zixiao glanced at Zhang Zizai, asked him to follow him, and went straight to the distance. Be careful, Zhang Zizai said to Shen Xiao and Ling Xian, and followed them directly. Now is the time to race against time. The key may be to comprehend more tombstones and get more black little tripods and fragments of the map on the black little tripod and the fragments of the map. This is the real way to seize the initiative. At least nearly 100 tombstones have been opened, Li Zixiao said while rushing on the road. They encountered a brand new tombstone, but there were only a few hundred people left here, which means that more people have been dispersed to other demon tombs. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 656. What do you think? Li Zixiao asked. Although there are many demon tombs, you should still find one that suits you, otherwise it may be a waste of effort, Zhang Zizai said. After all, the two of them are acting together, so they need to coordinate. Okay, at least you can't leave the distance of my two demon tombs. The two were very low-key when they walked, and they were also hidden in the dark. Then they kept looking for a suitable demon tomb. The tomb of the ancient demon Zhangwuji. The tomb of the ancient demon Chen Daoshan. Zhang Zizai looked at several, and there were really not many that suited him like Tugawu. Tombstones have different sizes. Some large demon tombs will gather many people, and everyone wants to get the best. There is no evidence to prove that the larger the demon tomb, the better. After passing by 10 demon tombs in a row, Li Zixiao finally found the tombstone he wanted to comprehend. There are tens of thousands of people in the entire ancient demon tomb, and this demon tomb actually had about 8,000 people before, which shows how attractive this tombstone is. Other tombstones have only dozens of people. The inscription on this tombstone is the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian. This is an ancient demon named Tongtian. The name is already domineering, but the key is that the scale of its demon tomb is more than 3 times larger than others. At present, the largest tombstone Zhang Zizai has seen is less than half of the ancient demon Tongtian's tomb. This is also the reason why 8,000 people gathered here. Everyone's sense of smell is very sensitive. The genius intuition tells them that among a group of treasures, the value of the best treasure is even comparable to the value of all other treasures added together. Therefore, there are 8,000 people who want to try their luck here. Many people are here, and the competition is a bit fierce. Are you sure? Zhang Zizai observed it for a while and found that the will of the ancient demon Tongtian's tomb is very against the sky. There is a terrible fighting will in it, which is very rough and fierce. The mystery contained in his inscription is suitable for many people, and it is also the same for Zhang Zizai. However, he felt that there were too many competitors. If he put his first mind here, he might waste some time. The will of this tombstone is too strong, with a very strong fighting will. This ancient demon must have mastered the fighting heavenly source. If I can comprehend it, it will be of great benefit to me in the future to impact the initial god realm. Other demon tombs may not have this effect, Li Zixiao said. Okay, since he has decided, Zhang Zizai naturally supports it. Are you coming? Li Zixiao asked. I'll take a look around first. If there is nothing suitable, I will come to see this, Zhang Zizai said. Okay, let me know if there is anything. Remember not to leave too far, be careful, Li Zixiao said. When he entered into meditation and began to study here, Zhang Zizai quietly left and hid in the dark. He had a premonition that the heavenly source tribulation after entering the 3rd level might come within a few days. After offending Yi Wangshen, it was safe to move around with Li Zixiao as the center of the circle. The number of people in the surrounding tombstones was far less than that of the ancient demon Tongtian tomb. He looked around and found that there was no suitable one, so he decided to return to Li Zixiao and comprehend the ancient demon Tongtian tomb with him. But at this moment, he found that there was a place covered by black fog in the corner in front of him, but he could vaguely see a black shadow there. There was already a demon tomb in this area. More than 300 people gathered in the demon tomb before, but no one seemed to notice that there seemed to be a shadow in the corner behind the tombstone. This shadow seemed to be a demon tomb, but the scale should be very small, much smaller than the smallest demon tomb Zhang Zizai had seen, only 10 feet high, about 1/3 of it. Zhang Zizai was attracted by it and couldn't help but go there. Although there was fog here, it was not closed. When he came here, he found that there were actually more than 20 people here. After all, this place was not too hidden, and someone could still find it. Zhang Zizai looked up and saw that it was indeed a very small demon tomb. Other demon tombs were black, but this one was gray. There was also an inscription on it, but unlike other inscriptions with dragons and phoenixes flying, these were a few crooked words, with the words Tomb of the Lowly Servant written on it, which was very simple. At first glance, these 4 words do not seem to have any mystery. It seems that the owner of this tombstone is the servant of the tomb of the ancient demon Xuanhuan outside. After all, there is nothing written on it, only the 2 words humble servant. This tomb of humble servant looks like an ordinary tombstone, which cannot be called a demon tomb, and there is no mystery at all. However, the reason why these 20 people stayed here is because there is a special existence standing in front of this tomb of humble servant. Zhang Zizai had seen this person's back before, but did not see his specific appearance. Now he is standing on the side of this person, who is looking up at the tomb of humble servant, revealing a thoughtful look. Just one look can make you feel this person's peerless elegance. This is indeed a young man who makes people feel ashamed. His figure is slender and well proportioned, his face is delicate, and his face is as sharp as a knife. It can be said that he is a handsome man with a noble appearance. Just in terms of appearance, he is a rare handsome man in the world. What is even more valuable is his temperament, which is like the radiance of the scorching sun, gentle and moving. Such a person is the absolute focus of attention no matter where he is. Zhang Zizai has clearly felt that this person is extraordinary. No one dares to approach where he stands. Even some people around him keep a certain distance, as if they are afraid that the dirt on their bodies will affect him. Judging from the clothes on the back, Zhang Zizai can basically be sure that this person is the little Holy Emperor Zhang Fanchen from the Holy Emperor Totem world who has been in the limelight before. So far, he is the only one who has comprehended the existence of 2 demon tombs. How could the tombstone where he stopped and lingered be an ordinary thing? So some people never left after entering. And Zhang Fanchen didn't seem to have any intention of driving them away. He probably thought that if there was anything special about the tomb of the lowly servant, these scoundrels might not be able to compete with him. He stood with his hands behind his back, looking at the tomb of the lowly servant, his eyes shining with light, like a green pine standing in place. Although Zhang Zizai thought this man was powerful, he didn't have any flattery. He stood in a corner and began to focus on the tomb of the lowly servant. To be honest, he personally felt that there was indeed something special about the tomb of the lowly servant. Now even Zhang Fanchen stayed here, which further proved that his guess was correct. After all, the entire ancient demon tomb had just been opened, and it was the most noble time. As for the others, they were either following Zhang Fanchen or joining in the fun. Judging from their confused eyes, they had no feeling for the tomb of the lowly servant at all. Strange. Zhang Zizai squinted his eyes. He had forgotten everything now. There was only the tomb of the lowly servant and himself in his heart. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 657. The grey tombstone looks mottled and has many cracks. Those cracks look very ordinary. When they are all put together, there is no regular pattern. On the other hand, the crooked 4 characters Tomb of a Lowly Servant don't seem to have anything special, as if they were written casually by someone else. But what Zhang Zizai wondered was, why was he attracted? He closed his eyes and used the Taixi Universe soul refining technique to calm down. Several times in a row, the Tomb of the Lowly Servant finally had some changes in his eyes. Perhaps he was too absorbed in looking at it. He felt that the cracks and inscriptions were moving, but he only needed to take a closer look to find that they had always been there. Still or moving, it may just be your own thoughts. I just continued to look at it, and gradually realized that it had nothing to do with me. These weird things were indeed moving. Zhang Zizai observed these changes for 3 consecutive days. He found that these changes did exist, but they were very slow, and they only changed a little bit in 3 days. Ordinary people can't see it at all if they don't pay full attention. 3 days later, he had not gained much yet, but now he was waiting for the Tianyuan tribulation. The third heavenly origin tribulation is called the Heart Demon Tribulation, and Zhang Zizai has already prepared for it. The inner demon is the inner demon. This kind of disaster is not born from the source of destruction, but is born in the soul. It happened that this inner demon tribulation had entered Zhang Zizai's thoughts. He was thinking about the tomb of a lowly servant when he suddenly felt something was wrong. Many chaotic thoughts appeared suddenly, and many negative emotions suddenly emerged, such as irritability, despair, and other feelings that appeared inexplicably. His eyes were bloodshot and a little red. At first, he thought it was caused by the tomb of a lowly servant, so he persisted, thinking that this was a test from the tomb of a lowly servant, and he would gain something as long as he survived it. But when he used Taigzi Universe soul refining technique again and again, he suddenly discovered that this inner demon came from within. Actually, you can see that with your capital, you are nothing in this God's well. You are humbler than anyone else. Want to become a god? It's too fanciful. Do you think it's that easy to become a god? Don't even look at what Tianyuan you chose. You will be the most difficult person to become a god in this world in all eternity. These voices rang in his heart. These were not other people's voices, but Zhang Zizai's own. These truths are indeed very scary. Look at the front and compare it with Zhang Fanchen. At the age of 17, he is already at the 9th level of Tianyuan realm. He is only 1 step away from the first god realm. The gap between you and him is like the gap between heaven and earth. Are you still delusional about what achievements you can make in the ancient demon tomb? These sound like questions to ask yourself. Zhang Zizai felt very uncomfortable. He felt that he was not such a depressed person, but now that he had gained nothing for half a day for 3 consecutive days, he was a little disappointed. Isn't that right? The tomb of the servant is so mysterious. What's the point of not being able to understand it in 3 days? I spent 7 days on the Starry Sky Monument. Comparing Zhang Fanchen and me, although there are some shortcomings and the gap in realm is too great, it is also because he was born in the central totem world. Besides, I really can't comprehend this tomb of a lowly servant. When he reached the end of his frustration, Zhang Zizai discovered something was wrong. This is the Tianyuan tribulation, the heart demon tribulation. The calamity of inner demons can easily cause people to collapse from the inside, leading to chaos in the body's natural power in despair, causing them to fall back a level. When he realized that he was suffering from the inner demon tribulation, the power of the inner demon tribulation seemed insignificant. More importantly, all Zhang Zizai's rebellious spirit rushed into his sight. He stared at the tomb of the humble servant with blazing eyes. The inner demon tribulation inspired his fighting spirit and made his will stronger than ever. At this time, the inner demon tribulation had actually changed, and it had transformed into the comparison between Zhang Zizai and Zhang Fanchen. The strong fighting spirit in his heart supported Zhang Zizai to understand the tomb of the humble servant. He was stronger than Zhang Fanchen. If he fails, he may be swallowed up by the inner demon and fall into an abyss of eternal destruction. But if he wins, his gains will be endless. It's an adventure, it's a battle. But Zhang Zizai is not afraid of this kind of battle, he has infinite will. There is no need for him to risk himself in such a desperate situation to win or lose, but in fact he is audacious. He wants to rely on the inner demon calamity to increase his bargaining chip to understand the tomb of the lowly servant. In other words, it is to find the courage for yourself to rush forward even if it means a bloody blow. In fact, he has found it. Under the strong fighting spirit, it seemed to fit the will of Tomb of the Lowly Servant. Suddenly, he actually saw that the changes in the cracks accelerated, and the crooked inscriptions had been integrated into them. During the fusion, great changes suddenly occurred. Boom! Zhang Zizai's eyes were filled with light. He saw a world in the tomb of a lowly servant. That world was being destroyed. An invisible force was impacting everywhere. Everything was destroyed wherever it went. Dying rapidly. After its demise, everything returns to chaos. That's what destruction is like. It destroys everything, and then what? At least, there should be something gained. Zhang Zizai had such an idea. This is what Tomb of the Lowly Servant showed him. He believes that there is always gain before there is destruction. In his doubts, he finally saw it. After the destruction, after a chaos, suddenly at the root of the destruction, a small world was born. This pure world grows like a bud, and one day it will grow up, but it is much cleaner than the original world. So, the purpose of destruction is not just destruction, maybe, it is for rebirth. The universe may also follow this law. As the saying goes, there is no creation without destruction. Until this moment, Zhang Zizai had a fundamental understanding of his Tianyuan. He already knew what he was for, which was very important, otherwise his cultivation had no purpose at all. He didn't just want to be a destroyer who only had destruction. The end of cultivation must have a purpose. Now, he found this purpose. Just after breaking through to the third level of Tianyuan realm, the most incredible speed in history was born. Zhang Zizai's Tianyuan actually grew to the fourth level of Tianyuan realm at this moment. Transformation every few days, and it is still Tianyuan realm. This is already a miracle. Even Zhang Fanchen in front of him didn't dare to be so exaggerated. But Zhang Zizai did it. Of course, this is the good fortune that this lowly servant's tomb has brought him. His source of destruction is growing rapidly. And in the process of growing, Zhang Zizai has a more thorough understanding of everything in this lowly servant's tomb. The first chapter will be released at 1800 hours in the afternoon. There are still 4 chapters. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 658. When the source of destruction grew to the fourth level of the source of destruction, everything around him also improved. The black petal grew again. Although the size did not change, the power of the source of destruction became stronger. The subtle changes in the leaf patterns on it contained mysteries and insights. The improvement of the source of destruction made Zhang Zizai stronger again. He broke through the realm twice in a row. This growth rate is unique in the entire God's domain. The fortune brought to Zhang Zizai by the tomb of the humble servant is greater than expected. This is definitely not an ordinary ancient demon tomb. Zhang Zizai concentrated again to comprehend and ponder. On the tomb of the humble servant, the cracks twisted again, merging with the 4-character inscription, producing the change of birth and death. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Creation and destruction are a cycle. The world will never stop. Only creation and no destruction will eventually decay. Only reincarnation can be eternal. Zhang Zizai read such information from these pictures. He almost said it out loud. Destruction is not a symbol of evil. Zhang Zizai is not pursuing the way of evil, but the top source of heaven and earth. In the end, he felt that Lingxuan's killing heaven source was not necessarily an evil path. She was not like that by nature. She could make progress in the heaven source realm. She must have found the answer to cultivation in the demon tomb. As time passed, the tomb of the servant in Zhang Zizai's eyes kept changing. He was completely integrated into it, like a fish in the sea, eagerly absorbing the information conveyed by the tomb of the servant. Finally, at a certain moment, those bizarre mysteries poured into his body, as if he had been enlightened, making Zhang Zizai suddenly enlightened and his spirit trembled. All the brilliance just disappeared at this moment. Zhang Zizai seemed to see that there seemed to be a person standing behind the tomb of the lowly servant. The figure looked at him with a smile, stretched out his hand and gently pointed to the location of Zhang Zizai's source of destruction. He didn't say anything, and then gradually disappeared. That intriguing smile left a deep impression on Zhang Zizai. He was slightly stunned. His vision became clear at this time. When everything was clear, he suddenly saw that the 4 words on the tomb of the lowly servant were merging and changing, and in a short time they changed into another 3 words, Zhang Zizai. This shows that this demon tomb has made Zhang Zizai comprehend. He has gained the deepest understanding, which will benefit his future cultivation process, and the benefits are not just what he can see in front of him. And Zhang Zizai is still immersed in the weirdness of the previous figure. This place is actually very small. In the blink of an eye, a black vortex appeared above Zhang Zizai's head. This was the gift he deserved after comprehending the tomb of the servant. He just reacted. Because this place was too small and there was no place to hide, when the vortex appeared above his head, everyone's eyes fell on him. Everyone was extremely confused. Who is this? I don't know. Did he comprehend this demon tomb? Faster than the little Saint Emperor? That's not necessarily true. The little Saint Emperor is watching, but he may not want to comprehend this tombstone. I think this is just an ordinary tombstone. People exchanged a few words, and some of them couldn't figure it out. Suddenly, a figure flashed in front of him, and Zhang Fanchen, who was as bright as the sun, stood in front of him. He looked at him with interest and asked with a smile, "Are you also the Emperor Tianyuan like me?" This question was a bit strange, and Zhang Zizai shook his head. In fact, Zhang Zizai felt that he had earned a lot by being able to break through the realm and gain some profound insights from the tomb of this humble servant. As for the next treasure, when he saw Zhang Fanchen, he knew that the possibility of taking it away safely was indeed very low. At this moment, a small black ball appeared in the vortex above his head. The small ball suddenly appeared in front of Zhang Zizai. There were many blood-colored lines on it. Zhang Zizai saw at the first moment that those blood-colored lines formed 2 words slashing the gods. This feeling is very similar to Zhang Zizai's slaughtering the gods, and it can even be said to be exactly the same. But it is obvious that the lines of this slashing the gods are more obvious, the aura is heavier, and the whole is very complete, unlike the slaughtering gods that exist in a broken form. Zhang Zizai guessed, could this be a totem weapon of the same series as slaughtering the gods? When he reached out to grab the black ball, suddenly another hand was faster than him and easily grabbed the slashing the gods first. It's actually a complete slayer of God, much better than the incomplete slaughter of God I got in the first demon tomb. Zhang Fanchen played with the black ball of slayer of God in his hand, looking at Zhang Zizai with a smile. He obviously knew this magic weapon. And from her words, he actually had an incomplete slaughter of God. No wonder when she saw him take down that sword, Zhang Zizai felt that it was similar to the slaughter of God, and it was also an incomplete magic weapon. As soon as the voice fell, the second thing fell from the vortex. It was also a small tripod, but it was a blood-red small tripod. Its appearance was completely different from the other black small tripods, but the color was different, which could explain its peculiarity. This time Zhang Zizai made his move quickly, but Zhang Fanchen's movements were also faster. When Zhang Zizai was about to take away the small red cauldron, he suddenly pinched Zhang Zizai's wrist and passed it through his body. What came was a power as majestic as the sea. His eyes were as bright as the scorching sun, burning Zhang Zizai. With a smile on his face, he said word by word, "Shh, don't move, this is mine." When he easily crushed Zhang Zizai to death with the palm of his hand, he easily took away the small red cauldron and put it away. Zhang Zizai's wrist had turned purple by his pinching. Isn't it interesting to come and snatch my achievements if you haven't succeeded in enlightenment? Everyone in the sky is watching. Zhang Zizai's voice was cold. He pointed at the golden roulette in the sky. At this time, it happened to be rotating above them. I don't know where it is. What are people discussing? You don't understand the ancient demon tomb. Only 2 or 3 people can stand out among tens of thousands of people. This is a trapped beast fight. This is raising goo insects. The strong one kills the weak ones. Only the strongest cricket will be chosen. Therefore, even if I eat you, they won't react. Zhang Fanchen took the opportunity to take the third thing that came from the whirlpool, which was the residual picture. This residual picture was better than what Zhang Zizai had obtained before. That one is several times bigger. He said with a smile, put everything away, and said, since you helped me a lot, and for the sake of me getting these things smoothly, I will spare your life. Oh, then don't I want to be grateful to you, Zhang Zizai sneered. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 659. Just the right amount, no need to be too exaggerated. I don't like exaggerated performances. Zhang Fanchen chuckled. After getting the things, he had no interest in this unknown person. However, what he said did change Zhang Zizai's mind. Tens of thousands of people choose 2 or 3. This is not a place of morality. This is a battle of trapped beasts and raising poisonous insects. Only the strongest can stand out. So this is a bloodier place than any other place. It is still so peaceful now, because it is not yet a place of competition. Watching Zhang Fanchen turn around and leave, Zhang Zizai clenched his fists. He didn't say anything. After all, there is a world of difference in strength, but he knows very well in his heart that one day, he must take back what he lost with his own hands. That originally belonged to him, the God Slayer, the blood-red small tripod and the huge broken map. This may be the most important thing to seize the initiative in the entire ancient demon tomb, but now it is held in Zhang Fanchen's hand lightly. Zhang Zizai looked at his wrist, and the other party pinched it lightly, and his wrist turned purple. At that moment, Zhang Zizai was unable to move. It's really amazing. No wonder Li Zixiao suffered. But with Zhang Zizai's lawless character, he only remembered to repay the humiliation today tenfold, otherwise it would be difficult to relieve the hatred in his heart. Xiao Chen. Just as Zhang Fanchen was about to leave, a woman in white suddenly walked in from outside. Zhang Zizai looked up and was immediately amazed. This woman in white was a rare beauty in the world, with a breathtaking appearance and extraordinary temperament. Her skin was as beautiful as ice and snow, her figure was graceful, her chest was full and about to burst, and her waist was exquisite, just enough to be held. Whether it was her figure or her face, she could be called a disaster that brought disaster to the country and the people, especially her sweet and soft voice, which made people numb. Zhang Zizai had seen her back. This person was the Holy Oracle Princess of the Holy Emperor Totem world, named Zhang Fanchen, and was also the peak existence of the 9th level of Tianyuan realm. She is one of the top figures in the entire Well of the Gods. After seeing her, Zhang Fanchen smiled and said, "Sister, aren't you comprehending the tomb of the ancient demon Tong Tian? How come you have time to come to me? It's still a little short, and there are too many competitors, it's easy to be distracted." "Have you finished this?" Princess Shenjiao asked in a delicate voice. "It's okay. Not bad, in that case, come and help me, and discuss it together. I have a hunch that if we can comprehend the tomb of the ancient demon Tong Tian, we will surely be able to seize more opportunities." "No problem, my brother will listen to my sister. My brother listens to my sister the most." Princess Shenjiao held his hand and pulled him all the way, and disappeared in front of everyone in a blink of an eye. Zhang Ziyi saw that there were many men around, all staring at the Princess Shenjiao in a daze. It's so beautiful, Princess Shenjiao, it's really as noble and beautiful as the legend. She is considered the most beautiful woman in the well of the gods. What do you think? Someone sighed. The first in the well of the divine realm means the first in countless totem worlds. I really don't know who can have such a beauty. She should be able to enter the divine realm, and maybe she can be favored by the ancient gods, someone said with a sigh. Ancient gods? Maybe it's really possible. You all think so? A young man with a pointed mouth and monkey cheeks curled his lips and said, why did I hear that there was something shameful between them, brother and sister? You are talking nonsense. If the people in the Saint Emperor Totem world hear it, you will die 10,000 times. These are all rumors, another person warned. I also thought it was a rumor, but did you see them holding hands just now? Tisk tisk. That also shows that they have a deep brother-sister relationship. Zhang Ziyi was still thinking about the matter of slaying God and the bloody little tripod. The more he thought about this matter, the angrier he became. His eyes were slightly cold. This feud was completely made. He had promised Li Zixiao to help him and restore his eyes. Now it seems that there is a debt between him and Zhang Fanchen. Unfortunately, the other party will soon forget him. After all, in his eyes, Zhang Ziyi is insignificant. Apart from the surprising understanding of the tomb of the lowly servant, there seems to be nothing special about him. Zhang Fanchen and Princess Shenjiao went to the tomb of the ancient demon Tong Tian. Li Zixiao was also there, so Zhang Ziyi decided to return there. In fact, he felt that the fortune of the tomb of the lowly servant might not be worse than that of the tomb of the ancient demon Tong Tian. But now he has comprehended the tomb of the lowly servant and the treasure has been lost. Compared with other demon tombs, the tomb of the ancient demon Tong Tian, which has not yet been comprehended, may have many benefits. These demon tombs are of great use to me. I must choose a suitable demon tomb to make rapid progress. Since this ancient demon tomb is a battle of trapped beasts and a breeding of poisonous insects, I will not have much time to grow and become stronger. If I can't change in the end, I will only be cannon fodder. He doesn't want to be cannon fodder. He doesn't want to let people take away his treasures without dignity. If this is an opportunity to enter the god's domain, he wants to fight for it more than anyone else. Grit his teeth and fight. At least he has advanced 2 levels in the ancient demon tomb, and is now at the 4th level of the heavenly origin realm. He feels that he can compete with the 6th level of the heavenly origin realm. At the very least, he has to catch up with Suemo, Sususu, and others, and among the countless geniuses, he can be considered to be out of the middle and reach the upper middle position. Otherwise, no matter where he goes, he will be a hot commodity. He crossed the blood river and returned to the tomb of the ancient demon Tong Tian. He did not expect that there were more people here. In a blink of an eye, more than 10,000 people had gathered here, and the surroundings were almost crowded. Such fierce competition shows that this is likely to be the largest tombstone in the entire ancient demon tomb. When Zhang Ziyi came, Zhang Fanchen had just arrived. His appearance with Princess Shenjiao attracted the attention of many people. They were in the best position closest to the tomb of the ancient demon Tong Tian in the eyes of the envy and admiration of the people. Don't think about it. My sister has already reserved this tomb of the ancient demon Tong Tian. It will be futile for you to stay here. If I were you, I might as well really fight for those demon tombs that may succeed. You must know that every day you delay here, there may be one less tombstone. In the end, almost everyone will get nothing. After all, there are less than 100 demon tombs, Zhang Fanchen said loudly. His words made at least thousands of people hesitate. After a long time without any gains, some people did leave, but there were also those who had just arrived here and joined in the comprehension. Xiao Chen, don't worry about them, it's better to have a lively time, Princess Shenjiao said. Her voice was so sweet that many people stayed here, wanting to see her again. Anyway, my sister has already reserved this tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian, Zhang Fanchen said proudly. There are still 2 chapters at 2200 hours in the evening. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 660. They do have the capital to speak. Most people are afraid and in awe of them. But people like Li Zixiao basically continue to ponder and ignore them. Zhang Zizai came to Li Zixiao's side, and Li Zixiao asked, feeling a little unhappy. Zhang Zizai then told him what happened in the tomb of the lowly servant. Li Zixiao stood up suddenly and said, let's go and get it back. I'll notify others. If it doesn't work, use the 9-dragon battle formation. Don't worry, Zhang Zizai said, the 9-dragon battle formation is the trump card, and it's not time to expose it yet. Let's wait and see. Anyway, I will get it back. Are you sure? Li Zixiao asked. Zhang Zizai nodded. Okay. He didn't insist on his own way too much, after all, he respected Zhang Zizai's opinion. Can you get rid of the tomb of the lowly servant before Zhang Fanchen, and try this tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian? Li Zixiao said. I compete with you, Zhang Zizai asked. I've tried it, but I don't think it's going to work out. I'm definitely not as good as the princess of the sacred oracle. You're not competing with me. If you can do it, I'll be happier than you. Besides, no one can take your stuff this time, Li Zixiao said. In that case, I won't be polite, Zhang Zizai smiled. Don't brag first, feel how difficult it is first. So, Zhang Zizai began to focus on the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian. He had a hunch that after he had comprehended the tomb of the lowly servant, other ordinary demon tombs would have almost no effect on him. Perhaps this was the only demon tomb worth trying in the entire ancient demon tomb. In fact, Zhang Zizai had spent several days in the tomb of the lowly servant, and there weren't many demon tombs left from the hundreds of demon tombs before. However, he had no interest in other demon tombs for the time being. The red tripod and the tenfold larger fragment of the map in the tomb of the lowly servant told him that he should stay in the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian and try it out. He only took a glance. If the tomb of the lowly servant was obscure and cryptic, then the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian was overbearing, direct, and surging like the waves. These were 2 completely different styles, 2 different mysteries, and 2 different manifestations of will. Zhang Zizai had roughly thought about it before. The will and mystery contained in the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian were also suitable for him. When he began to immerse himself in it, he was even more focused than last time, forgetting everything around him. The competition among tens of thousands of people made it easier to show who was the best. In Zhang Zizai's eyes, the 6 words tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian kept changing, turning into a sky full of golden weapons and iron horses. The deafening sound of the battlefield rang in his ears, and countless warriors appeared in it. The battle had already started, and the fighting had already shaken the sky. Everyone had already killed with red eyes. Fighting and killing appeared in every corner, producing a huge impact. A closer look revealed that the 2 sides of the battle were actually extremely huge people. Each of them had the power to overturn the rivers and mountains. The world was destroyed in their battle, and all things died in their fight. Zhang Zizai saw that in this war, every giant was wrapped in a special mist. This was not their power, but was generated in the battle. Every time they made a move, a large amount of mist was born. In the end, all the mist gathered in the sky and condensed into a black petal. How could Zhang Zizai not be unfamiliar with this black petal? This is the petal in the mouth of the black dragon in the Sea of Life. The more intense the war, the more people died, the more the black petal bloomed and the more enchanting it was. Until the sky collapsed and the earth cracked, all living things died and were injured, and everything nourished the black petal. Between heaven and earth, only the corpses of the giants were left. At this time, even the corpses turned into smoke and finally gathered in the black petals, until all the pictures were left with only the black petal position. Zhang Zizai could clearly see all the patterns of the petals, which were much more complicated than his destruction of heavenly source. The current pattern of his destruction of heavenly source was less than 1,000th, or even 1/10,000th, of the black petals in the picture. Perhaps, this shows that Zhang Zizai still has a long way to go on the road of destruction of heavenly source. He put all his energy on staring at the black petals. Perhaps pondering the pattern could help him. After all, it was simply a complete template, so he would remember as much as he could. To be honest, the mysteries contained in every little bit of the pattern were terrifying. Only by truly analyzing it could one find out how difficult it was. Perhaps many people had seen this flower, but they were definitely not as clear as Zhang Zizai about what it meant. In the dark, Zhang Zizai had already had some understanding. Combining the previous picture and the current pattern, something in his heart was becoming clearer. Among so many people, perhaps the person closest to the tomb of ancient demon Tongtian was Zhang Zizai. Suddenly, someone hugged him. It was the feeling of skin contact, and Zhang Zizai could even feel two lumps of soft flesh pressing on his back, and the numb feeling instantly spread throughout his body. But Zhang Zizai clearly remembered that he was wearing clothes. But when he looked down, he found that he was naked, which was really unbelievable. And that person was still hanging on his back, a pair of snow-white hands stretched from the back to the front, hugged his neck, and her head was close to Zhang Zizai's ear, and the orchid-like fragrance instantly penetrated his heart. Who? Zhang Zizai stood up instantly and threw the person behind him out. He actually disturbed him when he was comprehending the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian. His intentions were sinister. In this subconscious moment, he did not notice that there was a white world around him, and even tens of thousands of people around him had disappeared. When he turned around, there was only a slender woman between heaven and earth. The woman also came naked, and only some water mist blocked the key position, but it aroused more reverie. The snow-white body and seductive face had a thrilling attraction. Thinking about her hugging him tightly just now, this scene was indeed a bit hot. Princess Shenjiao, Zhang Zizai never expected that this person who didn't even know him would be so shameless. Was he impressed by his handsomeness? There is no way. I can't let you get ahead. I can only give you some benefits to disrupt your rhythm in front of her, the Princess Shenjiao smiled tenderly. Is this your method? Zhang Zizai noticed that there was no one around. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 661. Is it amazing? You are lucky, just enjoy it. There are thousands of men who want to get me in this well of the divine domain, but you are the only one who is treated like this. She smiled charmingly, and then floated over to Zhang Zizai. Go away, I am a clean person. Zhang Zizai quickly retreated. He, don't hide it, your thoughts are all reflected here. She stretched out her jade hand and gently pointed to the indescribable position below Zhang Zizai's waist. This made Zhang Zizai a little angry. Don't try to influence me. You are afraid that I will comprehend it earlier than you, so I will not let you succeed. He understood that such means must be used to disturb the mind. In fact, this woman was not by his side at all. The big man Li Zixiao was by his side, so he thought carefully and was not worried about being attacked by him. Everything he saw now was an illusion, so he simply sat cross-legged on the ground and closed his eyes. As long as he closed his eyes, the black petals appeared clearly in his world, and he could understand these patterns bit by bit. Come on, follow your body's instincts, why bother yourself? The delicate and soft voice sounded directly from his ears. I don't know when, a pair of small hands have touched his body, sliding around like two small fish. Stay calm, and never be disturbed by the other party's vulgar means. Everything I see is false. Zhang Zizai was very angry. Who did he think he was? He actually used the beauty trick to disturb him. It was really shameless. Humph. He only needed to stabilize his heart, and he could continue the process of comprehension. But the opponent's means were indeed very sinister. When his hands were not enough to shake Zhang Zizai, she had already sat in his arms, and all kinds of means had been used. It's all fake, it's meaningless. Zhang Zizai took a deep breath. He knew that it was impossible to push the opponent away at this time, because this was not a real flesh and blood, both were collisions between spirits. In this case, his only way was to completely ignore the opponent and focus all his attention on the ancient demon Tongtian tomb. Come on, I'm ready. The red lips of the holy oracle princess stuck to him, and her pink little tongue swam in it. Get out. I'm a family man, don't even think about getting me, I can't surrender. Zhang Zizai said hard, sitting in the arms without being disturbed, full of righteousness. But it was indeed a bit unbearable. This woman was indeed a demon who brought disaster to the country and the people. It was really helpless. Zhang Zizai comprehended the pattern of the black petals while performing the Taixi universe soul refining technique. The two were not carried out at the same time, but every time he came back from the river of time, he could be much more sober and his body was instantly clear. This went on, and the sacred oracle princess who kept provoking him became angry and said, "Hey, are you still a man?" "Sorry, I am only a real man when I am with my woman," Zhang Zizai said righteously. He just wanted to make the other party itch, and there was nothing he could do. For some reason, after saying this, his body suddenly became lighter, as if the other party had disappeared. Zhang Zizai opened his eyes in astonishment and found himself still sitting cross-legged in front of the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian. The surroundings were very lively, and tens of thousands of people were still there. Everyone was still comprehending that there was no sacred oracle princess beside him, only Li Zixiao. "What did you say?" "I am only a real man when I am with my woman." When Zhang Zizai just opened his eyes, Li Zixiao looked at him with strange eyes. "Ah, you heard it wrong," Zhang Zizai said hurriedly. He looked forward and said angrily, "It seems that someone is trying to interfere with my comprehension of the demon tomb." He was about to ask how the holy oracle princess could have such means. Li Zixiao smiled and said, "You are talking nonsense. You were fine next to me, and no one approached you. But I saw you sweating just now. I think you have encountered the fourth heavenly source tribulation, the tribulation. Didn't you say before that you broke through to the fourth level of the heavenly source tribulation? Speaking of which, your good fortune is indeed enviable. What I am most worried about is your realm. Now it seems that you are about to have the capital to soar to the sky." Tribulation. Zhang Zizai is now sober. After thinking carefully, this is the truth. He was a little embarrassed. When he was sober, he knew that the holy oracle princess was not a god. How could she have such a means of interference? All of this was imagined by his brain. It was the fourth heavenly source tribulation, the tribulation. Maybe it was because he had just seen the relationship between the holy oracle princess that he was used by this tribulation. Fortunately, I have strong concentration, otherwise, if I immerse myself in it, I will definitely be affected by the calamity and my mind will be affected, which will cause my cultivation to regress. It's a close call. Zhang Zizai was a little scared when he thought about it. There are indeed many dangerous places on the road of cultivation. But now that he recalled it, the delicate body of the holy oracle princess was lifelike. I wonder if her real figure is different from what I imagined. Zhang Zizai shook his head. Now is the time to have a clue, and he has just passed the calamity. Why do you still think about these messes? It's more important to figure out the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian. The competition now may have reached a white-hot stage. Zhang Zizai calmed down and entered the observation state again. This time he almost watched the battle again. He saw the birth of the black petals more clearly. War and battle destroyed the world and gave birth to this petal. If this petal is the source of destruction, it means that destruction is the law of all things. Its birth comes from all things. The destruction of everything is the birth of destruction itself. The generation of any mist eventually converges into black petals. This process is of great significance to Zhang Zizhe. He seems to know the source of destruction. It is not the root power of heaven and earth that appears out of thin air, but the law destined inside anything after creation. If those fighting giants are gods and demons, people often say that gods and demons will not die, but facts have proved that gods and demons will also go to destruction and end. Strength comes from fighting. If the strong give up fighting, it will be meaningless, but if they do not give up fighting, they will end in the battle. So there is nothing in the world that is not destroyed. And the source of destruction is the root of all things. After Zhang Zizhe had these insights, he looked at the patterns of the black petals again. He could gradually see the meaning of these patterns and what they represent. Could it be? What surprised Zhang Zizhe was that every time he understood a little bit of the pattern, the same pattern was born in his source of destruction. When the pattern was born, the source of destruction was ferociously increasing. This process lasted for a quarter of an hour. After a quarter of an hour, Zhang Zizhe understood a lot. The combination of those pictures and patterns made his understanding of the source of destruction increase again. And in this process of rapid growth, the source of destruction in his body was also growing wildly. The growth rate in just a quarter of an hour even exceeded the speed of many people in a year. Boom! When the source of the sky reached a critical point, he did not expect that he broke through again. 7 more completed. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 662. This time, he directly reached the 5th level of Tianyuan realm. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow dot. The speed from the 2nd level of Tianyuan realm to the 5th level of Tianyuan realm is unprecedented and unparalleled. This time, the growth of Tianyuan power is greater, because after reaching the 5th level, it is equivalent to completing half of Tianyuan realm, which is a small success among small successes, and a perfection. Although it is a very small perfection, it is much stronger than before. Zhang Zizhe has a hunch that he is no weaker than Su Mo and the others now. The strength of crossing 3 levels in a row has increased dramatically. It can be said that few people can withstand Zhang Zizhe's pursuit. And all of this is the great fortune given to him by the ancient demon tomb. For Zhang Zizhe, this is even more precious than other treasures given by the ancient demon tomb. Most of the others were at too high a level and had never found a suitable demon tomb. In addition, they already had a deep understanding of their own heavenly source, so they did not make much progress. However, several people also improved their realms by comprehending the demon tomb. Zhang Zizhe, Shen Xiao, and Ling Xian came here eagerly. But in fact, it was not easy for Zhang Zizhe to make progress. The demon tombs he had comprehended, the tomb of the servant and the current tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian, were already the top among all the tombstones. Even so, the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian just happened to allow him to grow and break through. This was related to the content of the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian. It was extremely suitable for Zhang Zizhe, while others did not have such luck. After the realm transformation, Li Zixiao felt the young man beside him with a shocked face. He could clearly feel that when Zhang Zizhe was staring at the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian, his realm surged again. It was obvious that his heavenly source power was doubling. Even he was surprised by this transformation. Could this kid have made progress? Reached the 5th level of Tianyuan realm, he was already dumbfounded. In half a month, he had grown 3 levels in a row, and he had obtained Tianyuan above the 6th level. If this were spread out, few people would believe it. He shook his head and said, "It seems that we have found 3 extraordinary guys. We should invite them to join us quickly, Zioki, Zioba, Xiaju. He even thought of the names of Zhang Zizai. Shenxiao would probably be very depressed if he knew. Zioki and Xiaju sounded okay, but why did Zioba sound a bit like a turtle? He did not disturb Zhang Zizai, because Zhang Zizai was still concentrating on looking at the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian, and his eyes seemed to be completely absorbed. As time passed, people in front of the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian came and went, and there were less than 3,000 people left from the back, but as time passed, it seemed that the number of people was increasing again. It was said that this was because most of the other demon tombs had been basically comprehended. In the end, it was the tomb of ancient demon Tongtian that gathered nearly 20,000 people. Now there are probably less than 10 remaining tombs, and most of them came to the tomb of ancient demon Tongtian to try their luck at the last minute. Even Li Zixiao asked Tuguye to guard Zhang Zizai for a while after he came here. He had given up the tomb of ancient demon Tongtian. After he went out, he also comprehended a tomb of demons by the way, so he would not gain nothing at all. When he returned to the tomb of ancient demon Tongtian again, he saw that the 6 words on the huge tombstone were actually changing. Someone comprehended it? Oh my God, who is it? For a moment, 20,000 people were boiling instantly, because after being comprehended, it was difficult for others to figure it out, so at this time everyone woke up and looked at the changes in the words above with great shock. Zhang. In the expectation of everyone, the 2 words ancient demon at the top changed, and the 2 words gathered together to become one word Zhang. Sure enough, they are siblings. The 2 from the Saint Emperor Totem world are really amazing. Incredible. It seems that they really have a good chance of entering the divine realm. Is it Zhang Fanzhen or Zhang Fangzhen? People stared with their eyes wide open, and at this time they saw that the strokes of the 2 characters Tongtian had been combined together, and in the constant changes, a new character began to appear. Sure enough, it is the character Fan. Many people knew it when they saw the outline. They were a little excited and sighed. All this was within common sense, but no matter who it was, they hoped that the name could become their own name. No, it's not the character Fan. This is not the character Fan. The character has taken shape. It has more strokes than the character Fan. If you look closely, it is the character Zi. At this point, many people can already remember who it is. It's Zhang Zizai. The tomb of the ancient demon Tuguwu was understood by this person before. His name is Zhang Zizai. Someone began to exclaim, and the voice spread instantly. Soon everyone heard the name Zhang Zizai. At the same time, they also saw the 3 words Zhang Zizai on the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian. Now, the suspense was completely revealed. Zhang Zizai. It is said that he is just a guy in the 3rd or 4th level of Tianyuan realm, from the world of Kanglong Totem. Where did he get the talent to defeat so many people and understand the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian? For a moment, the shocking sound continued to echo. Zhang Zizai was in the crowd. Fortunately, most of the people in the hidden dragon totem world were already around him, otherwise he might have been blown away by the raging waves. At this time, I'm afraid everyone is looking for Zhang Zizai. Of course, he is in the dark, and few people know what he looks like, so it's not easy to find him among 20,000 people. Zhang Zizai can see other people, such as Yi Wangsheng and others from the blood prison totem world. They are walking in the crowd with sullen faces and bloodshot eyes. I'm afraid they want to find Zhang Zizai's location. There are also the Blue Sea Totem World, Fengtian Totem World, Holy Demon Totem World, Sword Soul Totem World, etc. Suqianyu, who met before, also spent a lot of energy on the tomb of the ancient demon Tongtian, so he also has a very strong interest in this person called Zhang Zizai. Of course, the most profound ones are probably the 2 from the Holy Emperor Totem World. Among the 2, the one named Zhang Fanzhen had a weirder expression. His expression suddenly became indifferent. He clenched his fists and scanned the crowd with cold eyes. The 3 words Zhangzai on the tombstone were like a slap in the face. After all, he had said such words before.